Hello children. I hope the concepts which we have discussed in the previous lecture 5 are very much clear to you. Let us begin lecture number 6 of mathematics, grade 8, chapter number 6, squares and square roots. After learning the properties of square numbers, it is the turn now to understand what do you mean by square root. Basically, square root is the inverse operation of finding the square of a number. It means finding the number whose square is known as finding the square root. For example, if m is the square root of number n, then m into m will give you n, suppose, or m square is equal to n. It means the square root of a number n is denoted by root n. This is the symbol of square root. If I find this symbol, then it should be clear in my mind that I am talking about the square root of n. So, finding the square whose square is known as finding the square root. Square root of a number n is that number which when multiplied by itself gives n as the product. It means m into m, if it is giving you n, then m square is equal to n. So, m is equal to square root n. This is the symbol of square root. Finding square roots now. Now, how can we find out the square roots of a number? Finding square root, as I told you earlier, it is the inverse operation of finding the square of a number. So, if 1 square is equal to 1, then square root of 1 is 1. That is, square root of 1 is equal to 1 in symbolic language. This is the symbol of square root, as I told you. So, it will be written like this. Square root of 1 is equal to 1. 2 square is equal to 4. So, square root of 4 is 2. That is, root 4 is equal to 2. 3 square is equal to 9. Square root of 9 is 3. That is, square root of 9, that is, root 9 is equal to 3. Now, since I am taking this example, 3 square is equal to 9. Since 3 square is equal to 9 and we know that minus 3 square is also 9, so we can say that square roots of 9 are 3 and minus 3, but in this chapter, we shall take up only positive square root of a natural number. So, root 9 is equal to 3, not minus 3. I hope it is clear to you. So, finding the square root is the inverse operation of finding the square of a number. If 1 square is equal to 1, then square root of 1 is 1. It will be written like this. Root 1 is equal to 1. Root 4 is equal to 2. Root 9 is equal to 3. And 3 square is equal to 9 and minus 3 square is also 9. But here in this chapter, we need to take the positive square root of a natural number. Now, how can we find out the square root through square root of a given number? Finding the square root through repeated subtraction. It is one of the method through which we can find out the square root. More methods we will be learning in the further lectures. Coming to this topic, that how to find out the square root through repeated subtraction. Every square number can be expressed as the sum of successive odd natural numbers starting from 1. So, the square root can be found through repeated subtraction. As we have discussed the property that every square number can be expressed as the sum of successive odd natural numbers starting from 1, and this is one of the method to find out through repeated subtraction. Let us review the steps. How can we find out the square root of a number n through this method, repeated subtraction? Repeated subtraction means repeatedly we need to subtract successive odd numbers from the given natural number to find the square root of that number. First step is subtract successive odd numbers starting from 1 from the given square number. We need to start subtracting the odd number 1 starting from 1 till we get 0. Count the number of times the subtraction is done to get 0. Let this number is n. Step 3. The square root of the given number is n. So what are the steps to find the square root of a number n? Using a repeated subtraction method is repeatedly we need to subtract odd numbers, successive odd numbers from the given number to get the square root of that number. So the very first step is subtract successive odd numbers starting from 1 from the given square number. Second, count the number of times the subtraction is done to get 0. Let us suppose this number is n. Step 3, the square root of the given number is n. Suppose, let us take an example. We need to find out the square root of 36. As I told you, we need to do the repeated subtraction starting from successive odd numbers, and from 1 only we need to start. So 36 minus 1 will give you 35. 35 minus 3 will give you 32. 32 minus 5 will give you 27. Likewise, till you get 0, you need to keep on doing this subtraction. Here, 6 odd numbers, that is 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 and 11 are subtracted from 36 to get 0. So the square root of 36 is 6, that is root 36 is equal to 6. Now, what will happen if I will not get 0 and I will keep on getting the answers? In that case, if I am not getting 0, then that particular number is not a perfect square. Then you can simply write that this is not a perfect square if you are using this method to find out the square root of a number. Now, it's time to give you the homework from this concept which we have discussed in this lecture. From NCERT book only, you are supposed to do the questions. Exercise 6.1 and 6.2. 6.1 and 6.2 solutions, few question solutions I will be discussing here after this, after telling the homework from NCERT of this lecture. And you are supposed to complete exercise 6.1, 6.2. Along with that, exercise 6.3, complete question number 3, question number 4, 8 part, 5th, 4th part, 6th, 4th part, 7th, 8th and 9th in your homework notebooks. Let us discuss the homework solutions of lecture number 5. Exercise 6.1. Without adding, we need to find the sum. As we have used or we have learned that sum of first n odd natural numbers is n square, we are supposed to use this property to find out the sum without adding them. So here, what is the value of number of terms? That is n is equal to 5 here in this case. So simply n square, that is 5 square is equal to 25 will give you the answer without adding the numbers. Now next part is third part. 1 plus 3 plus 5 plus 7 plus 9 plus 11, 13 till 23. You are supposed to find out how many terms are there first of all. The number of terms are 12. So it is definitely 12 square, that is equal to 144. Again the same concept which we have used. That is sum of the first n odd natural numbers is n square. Now coming to question number 8. Express 121 as the sum of 11 odd numbers. Now we know the value of n here, that is equal to 11. Now as we know that sum of first n odd natural numbers is given by n square. So we will be using again this concept, and we know that 121 is equal to 11 square. So till 11 successive odd numbers, we need to represent 121 as their sum. For example, that is, it means 121 is equal to 1 plus 3 plus 5 plus 7 plus 9 plus 11 plus 13 till 11 successive odd natural numbers. We need to show their sum, that will be equal to 121. Now, next question is question number 9. How many numbers lie between the squares of the following numbers? For this question, we will be using the property that there lies 2n numbers, or there lies 2n non-square numbers, natural numbers, between the squares of two consecutive numbers, that is n and n plus 1. Here, n is equal to 99, and that will give you 2 into n, that is 2 into 99, that is equal to 198. So 198 numbers lie between the squares of 99 and 100, or 198 numbers lie between 99 square and 100 square. Coming to exercise 6.2, question number first, third part, 86. 86, we are supposed to find out the squares of the following numbers. Now in this case, in this question, we need to use the distributive property. We have learned this property in the previous chapter, that is chapter number 1, rational numbers. So we are supposed to use the same property to find the square of the following numbers of all the parts of this very question. Now 86 can be written as 80 plus 6 ka whole square, or it can be written as 90 minus 4. It will give you 90 minus 4, that will give you 86. So 90 minus 4 whole square can also be written. Now 80 plus 6 whole square is equal to 80 bracket 80 plus 6 bracket 80 plus 6. This can be written like this. Now multiplying 80 by 80, as it is the distributive property, so we need to multiply 80 by 80 plus 80 by 80 into 6 also. So 80 into 80, that is 80 square, plus 80 into 6, that is 480, plus 6 into 80, that is again 480, plus 6 into 6, that is 6 square, that will give you 36. So after adding all these numbers, I will be getting 7396. This is the square of 86. So in the similar manner, you are supposed to do all the parts of this question, and using distributive property, you can find out their sum. Square, sorry. Now, coming to next question number 2, write a Pythagorean triplet whose one member is 18. Fourth part I am taking 18, and we have learned that what are the three members of the Pythagorean triplet? It's 2m, m square minus 1, m square plus 1. All these are the three members of the Pythagorean triplet. So if I will be equating every member to 18, the value of m should be an integer. If in any case it is not an integer, I need to put 18 to the next member of the Pythagorean triplet. So if we take m square minus 1 is equal to 18, here m square is equal to 19. After taking the square root of 19, m will not be an integer, so I will not be taking m square minus 1 is equal to 18. I need to move to the next member, that is m square plus 1. Let us take m square plus 1 is equal to 18. So it will be m square is equal to 18 minus 1, that is 17. Again the value of m will not be an integer in this case. Putting the value of m as 18 to 2m. So it will be m is equal to 9. M is equal to 9 here in this case, and m square minus 1 is equal to 9 square minus 1, that will be 81 minus 1, that will give you 80. Likewise, if you will solving m square plus 1 is equal to 9 square plus 1, that is 81 plus 1, that is 82. So 18, 80 and 82 are the three members of the required Pythagorean triplet, whose one of the member was given to you, that is 18. Now, the students, you are supposed to complete, children, you are supposed to complete question number, exercise 6.1, all the questions, exercise 6.2, all the questions, and exercise 6.3. Question number 1 and 2 are supposed to be done in the book only. So, I hope all of you have understood the various concepts being discussed in this lecture number 6. Let us quickly review again all the concepts which we have studied. We have studied in this lecture what do you mean by a square root. So what is a square root? Square root of a number is basically the inverse operation of finding the square of a number. So the square root of a number is that number, n is that number which when multiplied by itself gives n as the product. And we have seen the symbol of square root also. Now, in this lecture, we have studied the method to find out the square root, that is repeated subtraction. Through repeated subtraction, we have learned how to find out the square root of that particular number, and we have studied the various steps also. The very first step was, from the given square number, you need to keep on subtracting the successive odd natural numbers till you get 0. Then count the number of times the subtraction is done to get 0. Let that number be n, or any variable you can take. The square root of that given number will be n. Now, on the basis of these concepts, you are supposed to complete the questions, and I hope every concept which has been discussed in this chapter is very much clear to you. And finding square roots, there are few other methods of finding square root which will be discussed in the next lecture. Thank you.